Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head on UATV. I am Oles Garjuk. Ukraine needs to battle corruption in the security and defense sector. To do this, one of the most important tasks is to counteract illegal trade with temporarily occupied territories. This is the conclusion of a newly presented report on the Donbas area by Transparency International. To get more details about it, we are joined in the studio by Vitalii Deineha. He is volunteer and founder of Come Back Alive charity fund. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So, Mr. Deineha, what is this research about?
This is research about illegal trade with temporarily occupied Ukrainian territory. So there are a few legal issues because, this is still Ukrainian territory. There is no border like with any other countries, but it's not controlled by Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And there are some legal issues which don't fight illegal trade with it, because there is a political will to stop trading with these territories, but there is a big need in Ukrainian goods, I mean like food, clothes and like things like that. So that makes people who live near this front line find different corruption ways to smuggle these goods there, and it's a pretty profitable thing. And the biggest problem here is that in this corruption sometimes are involved are militaries. So that's very bad, because it makes them cooperate with enemies sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should just explain the audience that in March 2017, our government abandoned and forbade the transportation of all goods in the occupied territories, except of some personal belongings and humanitarian aid.
Yeah.
Right. So is it just one-way smuggling, or is it round way?
There is 5 ways of smuggling, and it works two sides. So I mean, from Ukraine, different goods like food, drinks, and things like that are smuggled to the occupied territories, and from there, it was mostly coal, which goes using one of the smuggling way through the Russia right now, but also sometimes it's drugs from occupied territories, and some other things. For example, there is one factory which makes clothes, so those clothes through Russia goes to Ukraine, and for another example is alcohol and cigarettes, because it's the only thing cheaper on the occupied territories: alcohol, cigarettes, drugs.
You mentioned 5 ways. What are they?
5, and 4 of them are working right now. The railway is not working right now. It was banned by the decision you mentioned. 4 other ways is through the militaries. I mean, through the places where it's not no one is supposed to cross the front line. Second thing is on the checkpoints made for crossing this front line officially, because some people have families on the other side and they need to go there. And other such called humanitarian logistic centers, it's some kind of the markets between 2 checkpoints. I mean, like on the front line, on a special place where no fights happen, where people cross the front line. In some places there is a special kind of market, but it's mostly used for this illegal trade. I mean, to officially cross Ukrainian part of this border. And one of the most interesting is illegal export or terminated transit through Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
How does this happen to go?
Oh, it's very easy. For example, lorry goes from, for example, Poland with, let it be apples. Yeah, if you see its papers, it has to just go as a transit through Ukraine, and but it stops, for example, in Kiev. It's opened, apples are unloaded, and food and other things for occupied territories, from milk, meat, are loaded inside this lorry. It's closed. It's like packed with these stamps again, like it was never open. Then it goes to Russia. Documents say that it has to go to, for example, Georgia. But when it takes in Russia, it says, this is cancelled, so we have to come back to Ukraine. And they come back, but they come back to occupied part of Ukraine.
Okay.
So, and there is a big problem because Ukraine still did not join this common transit procedure. There is a special procedure which involves some organization changes. I mean, like scanners on a border and like other things which could prevent this terminated transit things.
But who is doing that? Who is cooperating with the militants?
You mean with terrorists?
Yes, from our side.
Whoever wants to have money. I mean, like there is like.
Or do you suspect
some people? Look, some people who see a business opportunity in that, they just use it, and it can be closed using using different ways, and there has to be like some loyal restrictions. They should be changed because it's not a criminal act to smuggle there, and it has to be a criminal act, and fees for doing the smuggling has to be much higher. And there are many other things which are told in this report in the recommendations part which could prevent. But we have to understand that there are just two options. First option, if we follow the decision made by our president to like stop trading with these territories, is one option. We have to make it efficient. But if they change their mind, there could be another option. We can allow selling some kind of goods to the occupied territories, as it works, with example, for example, with North Korea. Like North Korea is allowed to buy food, some medical things and clothes. It's not allowed to sell anything. No one would like sponsor a terrorist economy, but it's not a problem to sell them food. It's not like it's not metal, it's not technology, it's nothing. It can it can work also if we will allow to sell something there. I mean, one-way selling.
Okay, so these are the recommendations of this report.
There are two sets of recommendations. If government will allow some kind of goods to be sold to the occupied territories, and if they will not.
And what are the recommendations of the Independent Defense Anti-Corruption Committee? Are they somehow different from these ones? Or
No.
These are the ones.
Yeah, this Anti-Corruption Committee is a part of Transparency International, so it's like it's a one document.
Oh, okay. So who else cooperated in this document, in this research?
It's about 40 different interviews on like with militaries, with customs, with like border guards, with many people. Some of them like know something, saw something, were involved in something. So like it was like 9 months of work to do all this whole research.
All these interviews.
Yeah, it's not only interviews, it's research, it's analysis of existing loyal system of laws and like different acts of cabinet of ministers and like other things.
And also, to minimize violations in the occupied area, there were created some special mobile groups, including volunteers and soldiers, to patrol the area, the frontline area.
Yeah.
Do these groups have something to do with this smuggling also?
They had to do something with this 2 years ago. But they were...
So they were helping the smuggling to go on?
No. They were helping to fight that.
To fight. Well, they were created to battle the smuggling.
Yeah, and
but are they involved right now in these 5 ways of smuggling?
No, and we think that like it's very suspicious that SBU is a Ukrainian special service. In year 2016, they disallowed volunteers from those groups. So it made those groups much less transparent. And right now, like what is really going on there, it's much harder to know because like when the volunteers were involved in these mobile groups, it was much more transparent and much more efficient. In the year 2015 and 16, because of work of these mobile groups fighting smuggling, like a level of that amount of goods going to the other side were like dropped like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times.
So is there any suspicion that soldiers might be involved in the smuggling?
Of course, like it happens on every war. Actually, if you will read history, if you will look to Balkan wars, like any war,
It happens the same pattern.
of course, yeah, except the Second World War, where there was a front line and nothing happened like through this front line.
How does this smuggling affect Ukraine?
It affects defense sector, and especially when, for example, there are two sides, enemy and Ukrainian side, and when this side starts corrupting like different people here, it can like, it was working in Chechnya with Russians. I mean, like guys from Chechnya were corrupting Russian guys, and after like few years they were involved in much like harder stuff, like betraying their country.
So, to conclude the conversation, how to eliminate this trade, this illegal trade between Ukraine and the occupied territories?
Oh, there is like a big set of recommendations, but first of all, some legal changes are needed, like in the
Law changes, you mean?
law, yeah. Second thing is we need to join this common transit procedure.
Yes, that you mentioned.
And scanners has to be used, and also these mobile groups to fight contraband, they should be restored. Like they should work as they were working 2 years ago efficiently, and including civil society guys inside.
Okay, thank you so much for this interesting conversation.
Welcome.
That was Vitalii, founder of Comeback Alive Charity Fund. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Oles Garjuk. Goodbye.